we're the generation that just came out of the non-apartheid generation, but we're still working in environments or schooling in environments where people didn't know that Black people belong in certain spaces, right? So when I got to university in my first 3-4 days, orientation was easy. Obviously, we were in res, we were protected. But I went into a class, and when I walked in, the prof or lecture guy said, sorry, I think you're in the wrong class, ma'am. And I was like, wow, I'm not going to go through this again. I've been
What do you mean again?
So meaning I grew up having to conform a lot, trying to fit in with obviously the predominant race in my class, which was white people. I always wanted to just fit in. So in a case like that, what I would have probably done in the past would have been like, nee prof, ek behoort hier, ek praat Afrikaans, I would have done that to show him that, this is where I belong and you are my people. But I felt like, it's just a war or a mentality I'm not willing to keep on arguing with. So I left and I said, let me go find myself English textbooks and go to the English class where I belong.
Awesome. So now you've got the unforgettable speakers.
Yes.
What was the journey from being in corporate and then realizing the gap that there are people that actually could be getting better jobs, but they're not because of how they speak?
Yeah.
There are people who could be getting better opportunities, but they can't present.
Yeah.
How did you identify that gap, and what has been the journey to building that into a business?
So identify that gap because I come across hundreds of CVs in a day.
How many people do you interview in a day? Or
so it would be 2 a day, and I can say we did a count for 2022 to 2023. It was 500.
You interviewed 500 people?
Yes.
How many of the people actually made it?
12%. That's where I saw the gap. Right? You're right. Like there was like specific statistics that led me to that. Oh, what's happening here?
So out of the 500 people, 12% would be 60 people.
Yes. Were offered.
60 people got jobs out of 500.
Exactly. And it's not because all of them were bad presenters. Obviously, some we lose along the way because another company offers them or whatever it may be. But that was enough to show me that there's a gap here. Because I always say there's nothing worse than looking at a brilliant CV and having an underwhelming conversation. I look at some people and feel like, I wish I can help you. I'm interviewing you, but I wish I can steer you and tell you what to say because this is not going the way, not from what I expected and what I saw on your CV. And that created the alarm bells. And also having friends that would ask me, can you help me prepare for my interview? Since I used to do that for my candidates that I used to sell in the external recruitment space. So for instance, if I met you today and I was like, okay, witness, the thing is, he got a good CV, he's got good experience, but he doesn't know how to articulate his value. I'm going to have a session with you for an hour so that when you get into that company interview, you get the job because your recruiter helped you to speak well enough to get the job. So...
Oh, that's where the coaching started.
That's where the coaching started.
Find a candidate that you wanted to place somewhere.
Yes.
And then the candidate, because he couldn't articulate his coach him through that.
Exactly. And obviously at that time, I wouldn't have called it public speaking coaching. I was just coaching a person to get the job. And then at a later stage where I then sat with a lady that was doing business coaching for women, she asked me the question, what is it that you think you can monetize? And I was like, I've been doing this for free for too long.
So that's where the business came in for you to be able to now start monetizing your coaching skills.
Yes.
And then how do you integrate that talent acquisition, talent management skill and HR skill now into the public speaking coaching business?
Yeah, so I think that's where also you can look at where the TV presenting came in. So that was more, you can say, public speaking. Even though it's more for TV and cameras, it's public speaking. You're speaking on the stage at times with the camera rolling, but you're live, right? And that would be where you'd see the public speaking element come in. And then from my talent experience, I was able to make it a bit more public speaking coaching for professionals.
So you became specific now.
Very specific. I had to start niching it down because when I started my business, I used to say, oh, I'm doing public speaking coaching for people. Then people come and I'm like, no, this is not my kind of people that I was talking about.
I'm not looking for everyone.
I'm not looking for everyone.
So at first you put it out there and said, anyone who wants to do public speaking,
Yes.
come, I'll help you.
Yes.
The quality of the people that you are getting.
Oh my goodness, that was not what I was looking for. Happy to help them, but I also found that some of them did not know what they wanted to use it for, and they were trying to figure that out along the way. And when you don't know where you're going to use it, it already becomes a challenge for me because then we can't make proper simulations. We can't practice for something. We're practicing for nothing. And it's easier to work with someone that says, hey, I've got to present in the boardroom to Exco. I stammer, I start shaking when they ask me questions. Then I know, okay, do that presentation for me, obviously making sure everything that's confidential is confidential. And then let's see, let this roll. I'm going to ask you questions, fire it up, use the techniques I've taught you. And that's where I have this great combination of doing it for people that are professionals, that have an environment where they're already speaking. Yeah.
Was the market big then when you looked at it as a business, or was it just a matter of I'm passionate about this, I've done this long enough, and I want to just help people be able to get their point across in terms of their value?
So I think the market is way bigger than you can imagine because it's not just professionals. It could be a person with a small business that also has this brilliant business idea but doesn't know how to go and pitch for funding. It's big. The space is so big because you read in percentages, they say 70% of people would rather be found dead than be found speaking in public. 70% is a lot of just people. They're just saying people. Now at least that gives me room to go and pick my people so that I can then operate and work with people that I know I can truly add value to, people I can relate to, because that's important for me as well. I find it hard to relate to if you're saying you're a performing artist that has to do theater. I'm thinking, wow, I know another coach that actually does that and she could help you, but that's not me.
So with you, how do you then, based on what you just said, help like the individuals that actually do come to you, whether it's professionals, whether it's people that want to do public speaking?
Yes.
How do you help them identify their style and their unique voice when it comes to their own personal journey when it comes to public speaking?
Yes, I like the word identify instead of find. I don't know, have you heard how many people say, find your voice?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
And I'm like, there's no...
You already have your voice. Why are you finding
Where are you looking for it?
I've heard that a lot.
Yes, and I was like, we're not finding anything. Your voice is within you. So for me, I think the biggest thing I want people to do when they meet me is to start seeing themselves. The biggest challenge people have is that they want to see Palesa and their aim and their target is Palesa. They want
What do you mean by that?
They want to sound like Palesa. They don't want to sound like themselves.